There comes a time in every soul's journey when silence speaks louder than defense, and peace becomes your loudest answer. Silence is not emptiness, it is not weakness, it is not the absence of words, but the presence of wisdom. There are moments in life when silence says what 1,000 words cannot, when you've been misunderstood, when your intentions have been twisted, when your heart has been questioned. Silence becomes your sanctuary. It becomes the echo of self-respect. Because you see, there is a quiet kind of strength that only silence can carry. The kind that doesn't need to shout to prove its power. The kind that simply stands tall and says, I know who I am. There is power in holding your tongue when the world dares you to speak. Power in choosing peace over proving a point. It takes courage not to respond when someone throws stones, not because you can't, but because you know it's not worth losing your calm. When you reach that level of grace, your silence is no longer weakness. It becomes a language of strength, of control, of wisdom. People who live in chaos cannot stand those who live in peace. They will poke, provoke, and push you just to see you lose your stillness. But the wise do not react, they respond with stillness. Because when you stay silent in the face of noise, you take away its power. You strip negativity of its purpose. The storm can only frighten those who do not know their strength. You do. You've walked through too much fire to let mere words burn you now. Silence is not about ignoring. It is about understanding that you don't owe your energy to every battle that calls your name. You don't need to engage in every argument or explain yourself to every critic. Your worth doesn't depend on who understands it. When you begin to live in alignment with that truth, you find peace deeper than any apology could give. There's a deep beauty in being misunderstood and choosing not to correct it. It means you have grown past the need for validation. You've realized that what people say behind your back reveals more about them than it ever will about you. You've learned that words cannot shake a soul anchored in truth. You are not here to convince them. You are here to live freely, gracefully, and quietly confident. When you're grounded in peace, you stop performing for approval. You start protecting your energy instead. You stop chasing closure from those who benefit from confusion. You stop defending your name to people who have already decided what to believe. Because no matter how loud the world becomes, silence will always have the final say. There's an elegance in silence that loudness can never imitate. The elegance of knowing you could speak, but choosing not to. The grace of being right, but choosing peace. The quiet pride of walking away from drama with your dignity intact. That is strength. That is maturity. That is self-control. And the truth is, not everyone deserves access to your words. Some people want to drain your energy, not hear your truth. Some arguments are traps meant to rob you of your peace. And some explanations only feed misunderstanding. That's when silence becomes your greatest defense. Not the silence of fear, but the silence of wisdom, the kind that says, my peace is more valuable than your chaos. There will be moments when silence feels heavy, when every part of you wants to speak your truth, to defend your name, to set the record straight. But breathe, because sometimes silence is not losing. It's trusting the timing of truth. It's allowing life to reveal what words never could. It's letting your actions speak long after the noise fades away. In silence, you hear the whisper of your soul. You learn what truly matters. You realize that peace doesn't come from winning arguments, but from walking away from them. You understand that sometimes the most powerful statement you can make is none at all, because silence has a way of unsettling those who thrive on reaction. It confuses those who expect you to fight back. And that confusion, that's its own kind of victory. When you stay silent, you start hearing differently. You notice who speaks with kindness and who speaks to control. You see who respects your peace and who's addicted to your response. You learn that not everything deserves your voice, and not every situation deserves your presence. Some things are better answered with distance than dialogue. Silence teaches you patience. It teaches you emotional discipline. It shows you how to stand firm in chaos without becoming part of it. The world will call it pride, but it's protection. They will call it coldness, but it's clarity. Because not every silence is empty. Some are full of answers. There's a quiet transformation that happens when you stop needing to be understood. You become untouchable. You begin to rise above gossip, above drama, above misunderstanding. You begin to realize that peace is not the absence of noise, but the ability to remain calm within it. You stop matching energy. You maintain your own. You stop explaining yourself. You embody your truth. And when you do that, you shift from reaction to elevation. The most powerful people are not the loudest in the room. They are the calmest. They know that every word has energy and not every situation deserves that energy. They've learned that sometimes silence wins arguments before they even begin. Because when you refuse to react, you rob your enemy of control. So when someone tries to provoke you, breathe and stay still. Let their noise echo while your calmness confuses them. Let your silence be your boundary. Let your restraint be your strength, because true power is never loud. It's unshakable stillness in the middle of chaos. Silence is where wisdom grows. It's where healing happens. It's where you connect with something higher than emotion, something divine, the kind of peace that doesn't depend on people but on purpose, the kind of quiet that doesn't come from absence of sound but from presence of soul. You see, the universe hears what you don't say. It moves in your favor when you stop explaining your value to those who can't see it. It fights battles you no longer have to fight, because silence is not surrender. It's alignment. It's choosing to let peace protect you where words cannot. And one day you will look back and thank yourself for every moment you stayed silent, for every time you chose calm over chaos, for every situation where you could have reacted but didn't, because that restraint built your peace, protected your dignity, and revealed your power. Silence is not weakness. It is the sound of self-mastery. It is the art of rising without noise, of winning without war, of walking away without explanation. It is the echo of inner peace that says, I no longer seek to be understood. I am at peace being me. Not every battle deserves a sword. Not every conflict deserves your fire. There comes a time in your growth when you realize peace is worth more than being right, and silence is stronger than shouting. You begin to see that life is not a battlefield where you must fight to prove your worth. It's a sacred path where you must protect your spirit. Some wars are not meant to be fought. They are meant to be walked away from. There was a time when you used to react to everything. Every insult, every rumor, every misunderstanding would sting your heart. You would feel the need to defend, to argue, to explain yourself to people who were already committed to misunderstanding you. But one day, you learn that reacting to everything steals your power. You learn that you cannot drink poison and call it justice. You learn that sometimes the most powerful move you can make is not swinging your sword, but walking away with your peace intact. You see, not all battles are equal. Some are traps disguised as tests. Some are distractions dressed as opportunities. Some are just noise trying to pull you away from your purpose. When you learn to pause before reacting, when you learn to observe instead of attack, you become dangerous in the best way, because no one can control you through chaos. People will try to provoke you not because they are right, but because they crave your reaction. They feed off the energy of your anger. They know your peace is your power, so they seek to disturb it. But when you stop engaging, when you refuse to step into the ring, they lose. Because fighting with someone who refuses to fight back is like throwing stones at the sky. All it does is show how small your hands are. There is wisdom in choosing which battles deserve your attention. There is maturity in knowing which wars are not yours to fight. You do not have to attend every argument you're invited to. You do not have to justify your peace to anyone who benefits from your chaos. You have nothing to prove to people who find comfort in conflict. Sometimes the greatest strength is restraint, the grace to stay calm when everything in you wants to explode. You must understand this. Peace is not cowardice. Walking away is not weakness. It's self-respect. It's saying, I value my energy too much to waste it on what won't matter tomorrow. Because every time you choose to argue with someone who refuses to understand you, you lower yourself to their level. And once you start fighting in the mud, no one can tell the difference between who started the fight and who just fell into it. True warriors don't fight to prove themselves. They fight only when there is purpose in the battle. And even then, they choose their timing with wisdom. Because not all wars are fought with swords. Some are fought with silence, with dignity, with distance. Some are won not by standing your ground, but by stepping back and protecting your peace. There is a quiet strength in knowing you could, but you don't. You could argue, but you don't. You could expose, but you don't. You could respond, but you don't. That restraint, that calm control is your crown. That is the mark of someone who has outgrown the need to prove their worth. You don't fight for recognition when you already know who you are. You will reach a stage where you stop explaining yourself, where your peace becomes too precious to risk over someone's misunderstanding, where you realize that not everyone deserves a response and not every offense deserves a reaction. Because sometimes silence is the only answer that protects your soul. You are not here to fight for acceptance. You are here to protect your energy, to guard your growth, to stay aligned with your purpose. And purpose cannot thrive in constant conflict. The moment you start chasing validation, you lose direction. The moment you let anger lead, you lose peace. But when you choose peace over pride, everything changes. You begin to walk lighter. You begin to breathe easier. You begin to rise higher. Let them talk. Let them assume. Let them misunderstand. You owe no one your sword. You owe yourself your serenity. You owe yourself the luxury of not reacting to every shadow that crosses your path. Because people will always talk, and their opinions will always shift like the wind. But your peace, that should remain unmoved. There's a certain kind of beauty that lives in restraint. It is the beauty of holding your ground without holding a grudge. The beauty of staying kind in a world that wants you to be cruel. The beauty of smiling at those who tried to bring you down. Not because you're weak, but because you've already won by not lowering your vibration. You must remember, you cannot argue with someone who is determined not to listen. You cannot reason with a mind closed by ego, and you cannot win a war against ignorance. So stop trying. Let your peace do the talking. Let your calmness speak for you. Because one day, the same people who tried to drag you into battle will see that you rose without ever raising your voice. Every time you resist the urge to react, you grow stronger. Every time you choose to stay calm instead of defensive, you reclaim a piece of your power. Every time you walk away instead of fighting, you build peace within yourself. Because maturity is not measured by how many battles you win, but by how many battles you choose not to fight. So when someone throws words meant to wound, breathe deeply. Remind yourself that what they say about you reveals their pain, not your truth. Their opinion is their reflection, not your reality. And you don't have to prove them wrong to be right. You just have to keep shining, because light never argues with darkness. It simply shines and makes darkness disappear. Protect your peace like sacred ground. Not every challenge needs your response. Not every insult deserves your presence. Sometimes the most graceful thing you can do is walk away quietly and let time speak for you. Because truth doesn't need defending. It reveals itself in silence. And in that silence, you'll find freedom. The kind that comes when you stop fighting to be understood and start living to be at peace. The kind that comes when you stop wasting your fire on small battles and start saving it for your purpose. Because your destiny doesn't need you to fight every enemy. It needs you to stay focused on your light. Not every battle deserves a sword, my friend. Some battles are meant to teach you discipline, not destruction. Some wars are meant to reveal your peace, not your power. And the more you learn to walk away with grace, the more you realize peace was the victory all along. There will always be people who test your peace, moments that provoke your spirit, and situations that tempt you to react. But strength is not found in reaction. It is found in rising above it. The real test of maturity is not how loud you can defend yourself, but how calmly you can stand in your truth. Life will send you many invitations to chaos. Not everyone deserves your attendance. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is simply rise, silently, gracefully, and with purpose. When you react, you hand over your power. You allow someone else's energy to dictate your mood, your thoughts, your peace. But when you rise above, you reclaim control. You choose not to mirror their chaos. You choose not to fight from pain, but to move from wisdom. Because reacting comes from the ego, but rising comes from the soul. And the soul knows when silence says more than words ever could. The truth is, people will misunderstand you. They will twist your kindness, question your peace, and misread your silence. But you don't have to chase explanations. You don't have to prove your purity to those who are comfortable living in confusion. When you rise above, you understand that not every storm is meant to be fought. Some are meant to be watched from the window while you protect your inner calm. There's a deep kind of strength in refusing to be dragged into every argument, every rumor, every misunderstanding. When you stop reacting, you stop giving your energy to noise. You stop feeding the things that drain you. And in that stillness, you grow wiser. You begin to see that people who try to provoke you are not powerful. They're just loud. They are unsettled within themselves, and your calmness disturbs their unrest. So they poke at your peace, hoping you'll break and join their storm. But you don't have to. You never have to, because rising above doesn't mean ignoring the truth. It means understanding that your response won't change someone's blindness. It means valuing your peace more than your pride. It means knowing that silence doesn't mean defeat. It means mastery. The higher you climb, the less you hear the noise from below. The air becomes thinner, the voice is quieter, and suddenly you realize that the view from peace is far more beautiful than the sound of being right. When you rise, you detach. You stop carrying every opinion, every judgment, every projection. You stop needing closure from people who thrive on confusion. You stop demanding fairness from those who cannot give it. You stop explaining yourself to those who don't even listen. You learn that your peace does not depend on their understanding. It depends on your decision to protect it. And yes, there will be moments when staying calm feels impossible, when the words hurt, when the betrayal burns, when the lies cut deep. You will feel your anger rise, your pride tremble, your spirit ache to respond. But that is your moment of power, the pause between reaction and wisdom. That's where you decide what kind of person you want to be, one who reacts to pain or one who rises above it. When you react, you repeat cycles. You match the energy that hurt you. You become what you were trying to escape. But when you rise, you transform it. You turn pain into peace, wounds into wisdom, and anger into awareness. You begin to understand that your silence is not about weakness, it's about elevation. Because those who walk in peace don't chase storms, they build calm wherever they go. You must remember that not everyone is on your level of growth. Some people still need chaos to feel seen. Some only know connection through conflict. They will test you, try you, and provoke you because that's how they feel alive. But your evolution has taught you something different. You've learned that peace feels better. You've learned that staying calm doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care too much to lose yourself. When you rise above, you choose alignment over approval. You stop needing to win arguments that lead nowhere. You stop explaining your side of the story to people who've already decided what they want to believe. You stop wasting your words on ears that were never meant to understand your language. You begin to let go, with grace, not bitterness, with peace, not pride. And in that letting go, something miraculous happens. You start to feel light. The same words that once broke you no longer touch you. The same faces that used to anger you no longer move you. You begin to see that their actions were never about you. It was their own pain spilling over. You stop taking things personally because you finally realized that people can only meet you at the level of their peace. And if they are at war within, they will try to make war with you. But that's not your fight. Every reaction is a choice, and every choice either builds or breaks your peace. You can choose to react and be pulled into their storm, or you can rise and invite them into your calm. When you rise, you teach them through example. You show that control is strength, that maturity is quiet, that dignity is louder than defense. Because nothing unsettles negativity more than someone who refuses to react. The art of rising above is not about pretending you don't feel. It's about mastering what you feel. It's about knowing that emotions are messengers, not masters. It's about learning that peace is a practice, not a personality. It's something you protect every day, every hour, every moment that tempts you to lose it. Sometimes rising above means walking away from what used to define you. It means no longer responding to gossip, no longer defending yourself to the small-minded, no longer explaining your choices to those who never cared to understand them. It means no longer lowering yourself just to be seen, because those who are meant for you will recognize your peace as power, not pride. You are not here to react. You are here to rise. You are here to walk through the world with quiet confidence, to know when to speak and when to stay silent, when to act and when to let things unfold. You are here to learn that your energy is sacred, your peace is priceless, and your attention is gold. Don't give it to those who seek to steal your calm just to feed their chaos. When you stop reacting, you become untouchable. Not because nothing affects you, but because you've learned to master how you respond. You've learned that you can't stop people from throwing stones, but you can stop picking them up. You can't control what they say, but you can control how long you carry it. You can't silence their noise, but you can choose not to let it enter your heart. And that is what rising above truly means. Choosing yourself every single time. Choosing peace over pride, grace over anger, and silence over chaos. Because in the end, the goal is not to win arguments. It's to win back your peace. The goal is not to be right, it's to be free. And freedom begins the moment you stop reacting and start rising. There comes a time when you must stop letting the opinions of others shape the story of who you are. The world will always have something to say. Too loud, too quiet, too much, too little. They will try to define your worth through their limited lens, but their perception is not your truth. You cannot build your identity out of other people's insecurities. You cannot walk confidently when you keep adjusting your steps to match someone else's approval. The moment you let go of needing to be understood is the moment you begin to live free. People will judge you no matter what you do. They will talk whether you rise or fall, whether you speak or stay silent. One day you'll be praised for your strength, the next criticized for the same thing. That is the nature of opinion. It shifts like wind. And if you let it guide your direction, you will spend your entire life being tossed from one identity to another, never knowing your own voice beneath the noise. Their opinions are not your compass. You must learn to walk guided by your truth, not their chatter. You see, most people do not see you as you are. They see you as they are, through the fog of their wounds, their fears, their limitations. Their judgments often reveal more about their inner world than they do about yours. A bitter heart sees arrogance in confidence. A wounded spirit mistakes boundaries for coldness. A jealous soul confuses peace with pride. So when they speak, listen not to their words, but to the pain behind them, and then release it. You don't have to take it in. You don't have to own what was never meant for you. Your truth is not up for debate. It is not fragile. It does not shrink because someone refuses to see it. The truth of who you are, your intentions, your spirit, your integrity, lives beyond the reach of rumor. It stands steady even when misunderstood. You don't have to rush to defend yourself every time someone misreads your silence. You don't have to fight to prove your goodness to those who are blind to their own. Sometimes, the strongest thing you can do is to smile quietly, let them believe what they must, and keep walking in your peace. It is easy to forget your worth when surrounded by voices that doubt it. It's easy to question your path when others project their fears onto it. But you are not responsible for making them understand your journey. You are responsible only for walking it. The same people who laugh at you for dreaming too big will later ask how you did it. The same ones who doubted your worth will eventually witness your growth. So let time speak for you. Let consistency be your defense. Let grace be your reply. The truth is, you will never be enough for some people, and that's okay. You were never meant to be small enough to fit into everyone's idea of acceptable. You were meant to be whole, even if that wholeness makes others uncomfortable. You were meant to shine, even if it exposes their shadows. You were meant to speak truth, even when silence would make you more liked. Because the purpose of your life is not to be liked, it's to be real. And realness is often misunderstood before it is respected. You have to stop shrinking your light to make other people comfortable. Stop softening your spirit just because others can't handle your strength. You owe it to yourself to be authentic, not approved. When you begin to live from your truth, something shifts. You stop apologizing for your dreams, for your boundaries, for your peace. You begin to understand that you don't need permission to be yourself. The opinions that used to break you begin to lose their weight. They become background noise, distant echoes that no longer define your worth. And yet, it takes courage to stand firm when the crowd disagrees. It takes grace to stay gentle when the world misjudges you. But that is what strength truly is. Not loud defense, but quiet certainty. You don't need to shout your truth. You just need to live it. Every day you choose peace over validation. Every time you stand tall in the face of misunderstanding, you reclaim a piece of your freedom. You are no longer shaped by the whispers around you, but by the calm within you. Remember this, no one's opinion has the power to change who you are unless you hand it that power. The world will try to name you, label you, define you, but only you can decide if those names stick. You are not who they think you are. You are who you know yourself to be when no one is watching. You are the sum of your intentions, not their assumptions. You are the truth that keeps glowing beneath all their projections. Sometimes, the reason people speak against you is because your presence reminds them of what they've suppressed within themselves. Your confidence unsettles their insecurity. Your peace exposes their turmoil. Your growth confronts their stagnation. So they speak, not to describe you, but to defend themselves from the reflection you hold up. When you understand this, you stop taking things personally. You begin to see their criticism as confession, and you learn to love yourself louder than they can doubt you. The moment you detach your worth from other people's perception is the moment you become unstoppable. You stop chasing compliments and start chasing purpose. You stop fearing rejection and start trusting redirection. You stop needing to be liked because being aligned feels better. You stop explaining your path to those who were never meant to walk it because your journey is sacred, and sacred things don't need public approval. When you no longer live for applause, you find peace in authenticity. You start showing up as yourself, raw, real, imperfect, and unashamed. You realize that the right people will never need convincing, and the wrong people will never truly see you, no matter how hard you try. So stop trying. Stop explaining your softness to the cold-hearted. Stop justifying your dreams to the small-minded. Stop proving your light to those still comfortable in the dark. Just keep being, keep shining, keep growing. Your truth will outlast their noise. Your character will outlive their opinions, and your peace will outshine their judgment, because truth has a way of rising slowly, quietly, inevitably. It doesn't need to defend itself. It just needs time. The same voices that doubted you will one day fall silent. The same people who mocked your growth will one day speak of your strength, but you won't need their validation anymore. You'll already know who you are, so hold your head high, even when misunderstood. Keep your heart soft, even when misjudged. Keep walking, even when they whisper, because at the end of the day, the only opinion that matters is the one you hold when you look in the mirror and see the reflection of your truth looking back. And when you can meet your own eyes with peace, you've already won. Peace is the ultimate revenge, not anger, not revenge plots, not proving a point. True strength is when you no longer need to fight to be seen, when you no longer crave the satisfaction of being right. It is when you can walk through chaos with calm steps, knowing that your silence speaks louder than any argument ever could. There comes a point in your journey when you realize that peace is not weakness. It is your greatest form of power. It is the quiet victory that unsettles those who once tried to disturb your spirit. The world will try to pull you into its noise. People will misunderstand you, hurt you, lie about you, and expect you to respond. They will wait for your reaction, hoping to see you lose your calm because your peace exposes their lack of it. But when you stay still, when you refuse to respond with the same energy, something shifts. You become untouchable. They can throw their words, but they no longer land. They can try to shake your spirit, but you remain unbothered. That is the power of peace. It protects you from becoming who they are. Peace is not passive. It's intentional. It is the choice to respond with grace when pride demands anger. It's looking at someone who tried to break you and realizing they never had that power. It's smiling not out of denial, but because you finally understand that revenge through peace hits deeper than any reaction ever could. The moment you stop seeking to prove anything to anyone, you begin to live above the noise. You start seeing clearly that some people only create storms because they're lost without chaos. But your calmness, Your refusal to join that storm is what ends it. Revenge wants to win. Peace doesn't need to. Revenge is loud, temporary, and exhausting. Peace is quiet, eternal, and freeing. When you choose peace, you're no longer playing the same game. You are no longer on their level. You understand that real power is not in controlling others, it's in controlling yourself. Because what good is winning an argument if you lose your peace in the process? What good is proving your point if it costs you your calm? You have to learn that the true measure of victory is not applause, but serenity. They might think your silence means you're weak. They might call your calmness fake. But remember, people who live in chaos can't recognize peace. They only know reaction. Your stillness confuses them. It unsettles them because they expect you to fight back, to defend, to explain. But you owe no defense to anyone who thrives on misunderstanding you. You owe no explanation to those who twist your words for sport. You owe only protection to your peace, because peace is sacred ground. The beauty of peace is that it doesn't need an audience. You don't need to announce it. You simply live it. You stop chasing closure from those who broke you. You stop explaining your side of the story to those who want to keep you misunderstood. You stop giving access to those who once thrived on triggering you. And in that distance, in that quiet removal, you find power. Because peace isn't about ignoring the pain. It's about no longer letting the pain control your story. There's a silent kind of revenge in watching people realize they no longer have the power to disturb you. The ones who tried to anger you now find nothing to fight against. The ones who hope to see you crumble now face your calmness instead. That silence, that unwavering stillness, is the moment you win. Because peace shows you've evolved. It shows that you've grown past the need for reaction, past the hunger for validation, past the cycle of emotional wars. You see, revenge tries to bring balance by lowering them to your pain. Peace restores balance by raising you above it. When you choose peace, you no longer seek to make them understand the pain they caused. You simply stop carrying it. You forgive not for their sake, but for your own freedom. You stop trying to rewrite the past and start focusing on protecting your present. And that right there is the kind of power they can't touch. The world teaches you to fight back, to match energy, to give people what they gave you. But if you keep matching energy, you'll never rise above it. Every time you respond from pain, you chain yourself to it. Every time you let anger guide you, you lose sight of who you are. But peace keeps you centered. Peace reminds you that your worth was never defined by what others did to you. It was defined by how you chose to rise afterward. The ones who hurt you expect you to break. They expect your bitterness to mirror their guilt. But when you remain calm, when you continue to live beautifully, when you keep shining with grace, that's the sweetest revenge, because peace shows you survived what was meant to destroy you. Peace says, you no longer control me. Peace says, I've healed beyond your reach. And nothing terrifies the bitter more than seeing you whole. Sometimes peace means walking away quietly. Sometimes it means not responding to that message, not explaining your absence, not proving your innocence. It's the decision to stop fighting battles that don't align with your growth. It's trusting that truth doesn't need defending. It reveals itself with time. Peace requires discipline. It demands self-control, but it rewards you with freedom. There will always be people who try to pull you back into the old version of yourself, the one that reacted, defended, explained. But when you've tasted real peace, you'll never trade it for momentary satisfaction again. You'll realize that silence is not surrender, it's wisdom. That walking away is not weakness, it's clarity. That forgiveness is not for them, it's for your peace. Because holding on to anger keeps you tied to what hurt you. Letting go is how you finally cut the cord. You are not here to prove anything to anyone. You are here to protect your peace, to nurture your growth, to rise in silence. The people who once tried to bring you down will have to watch you live unbothered. They will see your calmness, your glow, your serenity, and realize that they never truly had power over you. That realization will echo louder than any words you could have spoken. There's a reason peace feels like power, because it is. It's not the absence of emotion, it's the mastery of it. It's not running away. It's standing tall in your calmness while chaos tries to find you. It's knowing that not everything deserves your reaction, that not everyone deserves your response, that not every wound deserves reopening. So when they come for you with negativity, respond with stillness. When they attack your character, let your truth speak in time. When they expect anger, meet them with grace. Because nothing disarms darkness like light that refuses to flicker. Nothing confuses hate like calm that cannot be moved. Peace is not pretending nothing happened. It's accepting that what happened no longer has control. It's understanding that the greatest revenge you can ever give to anyone who tried to destroy your spirit is to live free, truly, deeply, quietly free. Because there is no louder message than peace that cannot be broken. Forgive to free yourself, not because they deserve it. Not because what they did was right, but because carrying anger, resentment, and pain chains you to what hurt you. Forgiveness isn't about forgetting or pretending the wound didn't happen. It's about choosing not to let that wound define your future. It's about saying, you no longer have the power to control my peace. There comes a time when you must decide whether you want to keep bleeding for someone who's already moved on, whether you want to keep replaying the same pain in your mind over and over, hoping somehow it will change. But pain doesn't change by reliving it. It changes when you release it. You see, holding a grudge feels like power at first. It feels like protection. It gives you a sense of control, but in truth it is poison that slowly steals your peace, your joy, and your clarity. The longer you hold on to bitterness, the heavier your heart becomes. Forgiveness doesn't mean the other person wins. It means you do. It means you refuse to let their actions keep you trapped in cycles of anger. It means you've outgrown the pain and you've chosen peace over punishment. Forgiveness is not a gift for them, it's liberation for you, because when you forgive, you release yourself from the emotional prison built by what happened. You stop waiting for them to fix the hurt they caused. You stop expecting an apology that may never come. And in that moment, you begin to heal. Many people confuse forgiveness with weakness, but it's the exact opposite. Weakness is letting your heart be controlled by hatred. Strength is facing the wound, accepting what it did to you, and then saying, I will not let this hold me anymore. Forgiveness is strength in its purest form, the courage to let go when every part of you wants to hold on, the courage to choose freedom when pain feels safer. You can't truly move forward while dragging the weight of what broke you. Every time you think of them and feel bitterness rise, you hand them your peace again. Every sleepless night spent imagining what you should have said or done differently is another day stolen from your healing. Forgiveness doesn't erase the memory, but it changes the meaning. It transforms a wound into wisdom. It teaches you to say, that hurt me, but it didn't end me. Sometimes the hardest person to forgive is yourself. For staying too long, for ignoring the signs, for trusting the wrong hearts. But you must remember, you were doing the best you could with what you knew at the time. Self-forgiveness is not about excusing your choices. It's about learning from them and releasing the shame attached to them. You can't grow while constantly punishing yourself. You can't bloom while digging through the soil of regret. So forgive yourself for what you did, for what you didn't know then, but know now. That is how you begin to live lighter. Forgiveness doesn't always mean reconciliation. You can forgive and still walk away. You can wish them well and still choose never to let them near your peace again. Forgiveness isn't an invitation back into your life. It's a declaration of emotional freedom. You can forgive someone deeply and still set the boundary that protects your heart. Because forgiveness without boundaries isn't healing, it's self-neglect. There will be people who will never say sorry, people who will rewrite the story to make you the villain, people who will live as if your pain never mattered. But forgiveness isn't about their awareness. It's about your release. You forgive not because they've changed, but because you have. Because you're no longer the same person who was hurt. You've evolved beyond the need to keep proving your pain. There's a quiet kind of power in forgiving someone who never apologized. It's the moment you reclaim your peace from their shadow. It's the moment you stop being defined by what they did and start being defined by how you rose above it. Forgiveness whispers, you no longer have control here. It is your way of closing the door, not out of hatred, but out of peace. When you refuse to forgive, the pain owns you. It lingers in your thoughts, colors your emotions, and taints your future connections. But when you forgive, you break that link. You take back the power to feel joy again, to love again, to trust again. Not because everyone deserves it, but because you deserve peace. Forgiveness is not the end of pain, but the beginning of freedom. There is no timeline for forgiveness. You can't rush it. You can't force it. Healing takes time, and forgiveness grows quietly within it. One day you'll think of what happened, and the pain won't sting like it used to. The memory will remain, but it will no longer control your emotions. That's when you'll know you've forgiven, when peace feels stronger than the memory of pain. The world tells you to get even, to make them feel what you felt. But revenge doesn't heal. It only keeps you connected to the wound. The only true revenge is peace. To forgive, to move forward, to live well, that's how you reclaim your power. Because when you forgive, you're saying, you can no longer touch me, I'm free. Forgiveness isn't about perfection, it's about progress. Some days you'll feel free, and other days you'll feel the old pain tugging at you. That's okay. Healing is not linear. Each time you choose peace over resentment, you strengthen your spirit. Each time you choose to release the bitterness, you rise higher. You are not weak for feeling pain. You are not foolish for trusting. But you are powerful for choosing to forgive, even when it hurts. You are powerful for turning pain into understanding and bitterness into grace. Because the heart that forgives is the heart that truly heals. There will come a day when you'll look back at the people who broke you and realize they were teachers in disguise. They taught you the depth of your strength. They taught you what boundaries mean. They taught you how much you can endure and still remain kind. You don't need to thank them, but you can forgive them, knowing that what they meant for harm shaped the resilience within you. Forgiveness doesn't mean you're done feeling. It means you've decided that those feelings will no longer hold you hostage. You still remember, but now you remember with wisdom, not with pain. Forgiveness says, I release what no longer serves me. I choose peace over punishment. I choose freedom over bitterness. When you forgive, the chains fall, the noise fades, the heaviness lifts. You stop living in the echo of what was done and start living in the light of what's ahead. Forgiveness isn't about them. It's about you reclaiming your power, your peace, and your ability to live fully again. Because freedom doesn't come from holding on, it comes from letting go. And when you forgive, you finally remember who you were before the pain and who you were always meant to be. Keep glowing anyway. Even when they misunderstand your light, even when they mock your softness, even when they try to dim what shines naturally in you, glow anyway, because your light was never meant to please them, it was meant to guide you. There will always be people who cannot stand to see someone shining while they sit in their own shadows. But your purpose is not to make yourself smaller so others can feel comfortable. Your purpose is to keep glowing, even in darkness. The truth is, not everyone will understand your energy. Some will envy it. Some will question it. Some will try to destroy it. But none of that changes what you carry within. The glow inside you doesn't depend on validation. It doesn't need applause or permission. It exists because you fought through too many storms to finally learn how to light your own fire. And when that fire burns steady, when it stays warm despite the coldness of others, that is power. That is peace. Keep glowing even when life feels heavy. Glow through your quiet tears, through your moments of doubt, through your healing. Because glow doesn't mean you're perfect. It means you're resilient. It means that no matter what breaks around you, something inside you refuses to die. Your glow comes from the cracks that let the light in, from the lessons learned in pain, from the peace you built after every ending. The world may not notice your glow at first, but light never asks for recognition. It simply shines. There will be seasons when you feel invisible, when your efforts go unnoticed, when your kindness is taken for granted. Glow anyway. You're not glowing for attention. You're glowing for alignment. You're not doing it to prove you're strong. You're doing it because you are. The quiet glow of a calm spirit is more powerful than the loud noise of bitterness. Keep your heart kind, your energy pure, and your soul bright. Because light never loses to darkness. It only needs time to be seen. Sometimes the world will test your light by surrounding you with negativity. People will project their insecurities onto you, trying to make you doubt yourself. But remember, those who are threatened by your light are only revealing their own shadows. You do not need to dim your glow to make others comfortable with their darkness. Stay radiant, stay gentle, keep shining from within, even when it feels like no one's watching. The right people will recognize your light, not because it blinds them, but because it warms them. You didn't go through everything you've been through just to hide your light now. Every hardship, every heartbreak, every disappointment, it all shaped the glow you carry today. You have earned the right to be at peace. You have earned the right to shine softly without fear. Do not let anyone's bitterness convince you that glowing is arrogance. Confidence and peace are not pride. They are signs of healing. You've walked through enough darkness to know the cost of light, so don't apologize for it. Keep glowing, even when they talk. People will always have opinions. Some will say you've changed, and they'll be right. You have. You've grown. You've learned how to protect your energy, how to choose yourself without guilt, how to walk away from what drains your light. That's growth, not pride. The more you glow, the more some will misunderstand. Let them. You don't owe them your dimness to make them comfortable with your evolution. There's something powerful about a person who glows quietly, not for attention, but because they've made peace with who they are. That glow can't be faked. It's not about looks, success, or status. It's a glow born from peace, from wisdom, from self-respect. It's the kind of light that radiates when you've stopped needing to prove anything to anyone. When you reach that place, your glow becomes sacred. You start attracting peace instead of chaos, kindness instead of confusion, and authenticity instead of attention. Keep glowing through the whispers, through the jealousy, through the times they call you too much, because your glow will always expose what others try to hide. It will make insecure people uncomfortable. It will challenge those who thrive on negativity. But your light is not the problem. Their refusal to heal is. Keep glowing with grace, not to outshine anyone, but to remind others that it's possible to shine without burning. Some people will love your glow when it benefits them and resent it when it outgrows them. That's human nature. But you were not created to shrink, to fit inside someone else's shadow. You are meant to be seen by those who value your light, not those who fear it. So when people drift away as your glow gets stronger, let them go. Their exit is not rejection, it's alignment. Because those who are meant for you will never ask you to dim who you are. Glow for the days you thought you'd never rise again. Glow for the nights you cried but still woke up believing in yourself. Glow for the version of you that kept fighting when no one believed in your dreams. You owe it to yourself to keep shining, even when it feels lonely, even when it feels like no one understands. Because your glow is not a product of ease. It's born from endurance. Your glow doesn't have to be loud or seen by the world. Sometimes it's just the peace in your voice, the calm in your presence, the kindness in your words. That's how your light reaches others, not through perfection, but through presence. Every time you choose grace over anger, love over bitterness, peace over noise, your light grows stronger. Keep choosing peace, because that's how your glow becomes unshakable. The world needs your light, not the loud, attention-seeking kind, but the quiet, healing kind that reminds others it's okay to start again. When you glow, you give permission to others to do the same. When you live authentically, you remind others that peace is possible. So don't let the world harden you. Don't let betrayal make you bitter. Don't let failure make you afraid. Let everything that once tried to destroy you become fuel for your glow. You may not realize it, but someone out there is inspired by your resilience, by the way you keep showing up despite the storms. Someone looks at you and sees light, not because you've never struggled, but because you never let the struggle steal your glow. You are proof that broken things can still shine beautifully, that healing doesn't dim you, it refines you. So keep glowing when they doubt you. Keep glowing when they leave you out. Keep glowing when life feels unfair, because every time you rise, every time you stay kind, every time you protect your peace, your glow becomes your strength. Remember, your glow is not about being seen, it's about being whole. You are not shining for approval. You are shining because you've learned to love yourself through the shadows. Your light is not temporary. It doesn't depend on validation. It is eternal because it's born from truth, from healing, from everything you've overcome. So even when the world grows cold, even when they whisper, even when your light feels too small, keep glowing anyway, because your glow is your testimony. It's your quiet way of saying, I survived, I healed, and I am still shining. So the next time they try to pull you down, don't fight, fly, rise not to show them who you are, but to remind yourself of what you are made of, because grace always wins in silence, and peace is the crown of those who rise above.